start this again. So I have actually 3 now. These 2 are from last night. So I took a leaf. I'm just going to tell you really quick what I did and then I'll show you. I took a leaf, I put it on a rock, just like this, naked rock, and I took a large flat brush and I dipped it in paint, and then I held the leaf in the center and just started brushing the paint outwards like this. See how it's flat? It doesn't curl up. So I brushed it out like this. And then very carefully, obviously, turned it around and went like this, right? To get the blue. And then I let that dry, and it's not very thick. It's almost dry brushing, so it doesn't take very long to dry. And then after I did that, on the underside of the leaf, I took a metallic bronze. This is the one I like. It's you can tell I like it. It's empty. It's this rich brass color. Very nice light color. It's pretty. And I brushed it on the underside of the leaf, on the veins, the side where the veins stick out more, right? And then once the blue was dry, I lined it up. This isn't the same leaf. My kids destroyed the one that I used last night. But I lined it up, and then I just pressed it on it with my finger to create this. Now this is 2 colors. This is 3. So I did the same thing with this one, except when I brushed it over it with the blue, obviously I had naked rock underneath, right? So I went through with a small flat brush so I wouldn't lose all of the detail on the edges of the leaf. And I went through with this same bronze color and I painted the whole shape of the leaf. I didn't leave anything out. I painted the whole thing. So then I had blue and flat bronze. And then I let that dry. And then with the same leaf, which at that point already had bronze on it, with the same leaf, I took a darker metallic color that I have, and this is espresso. This one's really pretty too. You can tell obviously from the way it turned out on the rock, but it's a rich, like, I don't even know what to call that, but it's really, really pretty. So anyway, it's a few shades darker, right? Which is the point. I guess you could use any color. You could use red if you wanted. And I did the same thing. I painted the underside of the leaf. And then I just lined it up and rubbed it gently to get the leaf imprint. And then I let it dry. And then I resined it after I let it dry overnight. And I resined it early this morning when I woke up. So, yeah, that's what it looks like. That's how it's done. So I'm going to show you how it's done. I did this one too just now, and I'll show you guys how I did this one at the end, because this is similar but different. Okay, so flat brush. I've got my blue out already. And then when I use these guys, I should have done it with the blue too, but when I use these guys, I generally just tip my brush into the lid because it's just wasteful. So anywho, these are not name brand. It's some metallic paint that I ordered early on in our rock painting. But it's absolutely fabulous, and it has a ton of colors. And so far, so good. seem to be doing okay. So anyway, all right, let's start with blue. I talk too much. So Naked Rock, and then I have this really awesome maple tree out in my front yard. So it's not changing yet, crazily enough. Maybe it's because it's close to the house, but anyway, there's some very young tender leaves, and that's what I'm using. The one I used yesterday was a lot bigger, but the rocket was also a lot bigger. So I just make sure it fits really well, and I don't have any paint on the underside. And then I just I don't want too much, but I want enough, right? Can't wait to get a manicure again. So then you go like this. See how it's flat? Yeah, I need a little bit more. While I was talking, it got a little dry. So you don't want too much because, you don't want to wait forever for it to dry. And I like the dry brush look, I really do. It's one of my favorite things. Okay. See how it just lines up? And then I just brush the back. I'm too tired to be very coordinated, so I apologize for that. But there we go. Leaf. Almost perfect. Sort of, kind of. Pretty close. And then if you don't think that you did enough on the sides, you can just, by now it's a little drier, you can just dry brush it out if you want. Okay. All right. We have our outline. Still a little damp. Let me give that another couple seconds to dry. So because I'm using the same leaf, the thinner the paint is, obviously, the faster it's going to dry on your leaf too. So while we wait on that to dry, I'm going to get out this bronze. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this was the most awkward part. Just trying to keep it in the lines. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video for time's sake. You get the idea. Alright, finishing up. This leaf has lots of tiny little edges that stick out a little bit, and I'm trying to maintain that detail as best as I can. You can see how I just used the paint out of my lid so I don't waste it. Because for rock painting we don't really use a lot, right? Not like a canvas or anything. So you don't have to do this part. You can just do the stamping part if you want one that looks more like this. And it's probably much easier to do. I had filled this other one in before I did that. This is my second one. I had filled this in before, and I did it 2 ways just to see if I'd like it or not. Making sure all the naked rock is covered. So, because when you put resin on it, the naked rock will pop through. Not that it'll look bad. It won't look bad. It'll probably look just fine. That's just personal preference. That and the gold shines a little bit, or the bronze, or whatever it is, shines better if it's filled in. And since I'm putting on such a light coat, it dries really, really fast. Okay. And then of course you want to give this just a little bit of time to dry, so that when you stamp it with the other color, they don't blend. And of course that depends on your temperature in your house and stuff, whether you have a small fan going or anything. Alright, there we go. There's our leaf. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. And then while that's drying, I'm going to show you this other one in case anybody's interested. Okay, so I already washed my brush off. So I've been goofing around with colors, and I like metallics. Y'all know I like metallics, I guess, already. So I'm gonna do to this one what I did to this one. This one had a base coat of black on it, and when I put the red on it, it wasn't as thick, so it faded in. And then I added a little bit of purple. So I used the same colors, just thinner, that I did on this other rock, and then I added, after that dried, I added some purple, and I dabbed it with saran wrap to give it ridges, so it has ridges. But the purple plays off the red really well. And then once that dried, I brushed it dry, kind of gave it a dry brush with my metallic wine red that I love. This is the one I use all the time. So anyway, so that's how I set that one up. And then I put a very, very thin coat of UV resin. You can see the bumps are still there. So I wanted that way. So anyway, let me show you what I did to this guy, to get this guy. So, same rock. I would suggest using a different leaf, but hopefully this guy will hold up. I have flat black. It's not glossy, it's flat. And the same technique as before. Just hold it in place. But all my color's already there, right? All I'm doing is an outline. All the rest of it's already done for me. Done that already. And then I'm just going to do the same technique as before. And brush over it. And it's most important just to get the outline, right? And then whatever's left down here I can fix afterwards. So I want to get as much of that outline as I can intact without moving the leaf. Alright. And then go in and do the edges. I'm not talking very loud because I have little sleeping. So there we go. And there we go. This one's not as showy It's stuck to my finger. But there you go. And I'll touch it up. Around the edges and then let it dry. And when I put resin on this, it's gonna pop. It's gonna be insane. So that's how I did that one. And obviously you don't need to use resin, you can use any seal. I just use resin because right now the temperatures are too far up and down and I'm not very patient. So, alright, this guy is ready to go. Let me wash my brush off. Alright. And for future reference, I would definitely recommend using a different leaf. One for black, one for blue, or whatever color. Because this poor guy is starting to, he's holding up rather well, but he's already had a bath twice, so pretty soon he'll look like wilted spinach if I'm not careful. Alrighty, so all the black is off. Oh, nope, I missed a little tiny spot. You want to make sure all the black is off or it's going to throw your whole. Therefore, don't use the same leaf for black as you do for blue. Lesson learned. Okay. So we've got our leaf. It's clean. It's ready to go. I'm going to get out my darker espresso color. Right. Now this is where it gets messy and fun. I always have this craft paper for this reason. Alright. So then I just paint the back. Kind of liberally. You don't want too much because you want just the veins, but you also don't want not enough. Okay. So now we're going to use our fingers. Did I mention this is messy? Okay. So then you line it up. As close as you can get it. And then you just press gently from the center outwards so that the leaf goes in the same direction it did when you brushed it with the brush. And then I go back and I press a little harder just to make sure that the paint that's on there is getting down. And you can feel the leaf, it's stuck. Now it's stuck. Right? And then you just pull it off. And you have your leaf imprint. Hopefully you can see that. It's kind of hard to see unless you're like right on top of it or you see it after it's resined. I tried to take pictures last night and it didn't really work out very well. But the lines are there. You can see them. And then I just let that dry and seal it. That's it. That's all there is to it. Not very complicated. That was just me goofing around. I was looking at crayon rubbings that we used to do as kids, right? And I was like, how can I do this on a rock? And this one is still wet, but this is going to look fantastic. Look at that. The purple and the wine red together. Looks fabulous. I'm so excited. Okay. Alright. That's all there is to it. You don't have to use any specific paint. I love my metallic paints, but you can use whatever paint you like. I would actually think it would be really cool to do it like this, and then maybe do some fall reds or deep reds just for the vein part. I wonder how that would turn out. So, yep. These are fun. My poor tree. Gonna have to not do too many of them or it'll prematurely strip the tree. Alrighty. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.